Hey, Michael Viewmaster Morlan here, and welcome to Galactic Inquiry. Coming up, Bad News Baron joins us to talk about his creative storytelling, games, and his accidental career streaming on Twitch TV. Disco Lando returns with his special brand of humor, community videos, deep thoughts, and more. Coming up right after this. Hey there, welcome to Galactic Inquiry, the weekly webcast where we feature you, the community of star citizens. And a big welcome to our newest patrons, Brian Holland, Oblivious Gamer, Jeffrey Oliver, and Richard Garriott. And a big thanks to our recent one-off contributors, Fireball and Jan Pop. Good to see you back. We're so glad you guys could be a part of the show each week. You know, if you want to be as cool as these folks, click on that link right there and support a show by and for the star citizen community. We pick up where Cloud Imperium leaves off. Arena Commander version 0.9.1 was dropped on unsuspecting citizens this week, and what a relief to see CIG taking a shot at making SLI Crossfire work. Finally, you can put those multiple GPU cards to work. And the beginnings of custom key bindings, choosing which ships appear in your hangar, and of course, lots of tweaks and fixes, and AC is starting to look pretty sweet. Check out all the fixes on the RSI page at the link right there. And just in time for my birthday, Cloud Imperium released the concepts for the specs for the new Aegis Reclaimer. What is this? LTI? Oh, there was much gnashing of teeth by veteran backers over the reintroduction of lifetime insurance. I mean, didn't LTI make me special? I mean, aren't I a part of an elite cadre? Oh well, perhaps I should just get a life. And of course, the Reclaimer includes the requisite stats to keep the data heads happy. While on the subject, Disco Lando hit us again with his take on ship stats.
So, that fancy new spaceship you've been waiting for is finally up for sale. That's great. But what's this? There's so many different variants to choose from. There's transport and racing, exploration and infiltration, bombers and multifunctions, and space superiorities and luxuries. How am I supposed to decide which variant is the right variant for me? Look inside my heart? Consider my playstyle and relevant interest? Of course not, because we all know the best way to decide which spaceship you want to buy is to min-max them all on the stats page. Yes, the stats page, that always accurate collection of T6s, S7s, C5s, AEs, and of course my old personal favorite, the FU. Bigger always means better, doesn't it? But what's this? Ship specifications are subject to change? What kind of bullshit is that? Are you telling me this game is still in development? Are you suggesting that I'm not, in fact, buying a finished product with my money? Is the reality that when I spend money on Star Citizen, I'm actually supporting the continued development of an unfinished game and receiving a ship in return that I won't have to earn once that game goes live? That the finished game is still a long ways away, and that before that day is here, there will be months and months of playtesting and balancing that will continue to make all these stats fluctuate and change? It's almost as if using the stats as the sole determinant of my purchases is completely absurd. Oh man, now I need to go write a concern thread.
So rev up your spreadsheets and start min-maxing till you puke. It'll all change in a month anyway. Speaking of revving up, we finally upgraded our very own Galactic Inquiry website to something beyond a landing page. Thanks entirely to the efforts of our most excellent webmaster, Aslan, we now have a home away from home on the web. Now, we didn't include a forum for now. We're going to keep our forum dialogues with the RSI and the Reddit forum so we aren't dividing up the audience too much. So head on over to galacticinquiry.com and let us know what you think. While on the subject of websites, we were saddened to hear Star Citizen News Radio has shuttered their program and their website. One of the ways they gave back to the community was translating Star Citizen shows, brochures, and jump points into German. Alas, that's a really great task and real life intrudes. Stardust, Mariluna, Cyan, Gothic, Stefan, Naduna, John Seiler, and all the rest will be sorely missed. Now be sure to look them up on the RSI.com site and give them your thanks for their service. Later in the show, Uber Twitch streamer Bad News Baron joins us for a chat, but now, here's the word of the week.
Word of the week. The word of the week is peer-reviewed journal.
Stunning news from the world of science and mind-blowing if true. Laura Mersini-Houghton, a physics professor at UNC Chapel Hill, and Harold Piper, an expert on numerical relativity at the University of Toronto, published a paper proving that black holes don't exist. Now, not only does this shocking discovery render null and void a popular TV sitcom and ruin Jim Parsons' career, it also erases the theoretical source of the universe. Fortunately, this math does unify the two contradictory elements of relativity theory and quantum mechanics. Wow! Ha! Hey, holy hyperbole, Batman! I mean, this is big! I can't believe the New York Times didn't really pick this up. Wait, what? Really? It's not a peer review article. No professional physicist reviewed the science before publication? Mersini-Houghton just sent out a press release. Are you kidding me? Look, I'm on the air right now. All right. This just in. Black holes still exist. Professor Stephen Hawking notes perhaps the information isn't lost, just scrambled, thereby eliminating the information loss paradox. Besides, Mersini-Houghton hypothesized a really large amount of Hawking radiation. So maybe the result is not so black hole crushing after all. You know, what is so hard to believe about a giant sucking hole at the center of the galaxy with a gravitational field so strong that space-time is dynamic and has the topology of a sphere times a line and all matter collapses into a singularity? I mean, really, what is so hard to understand here? Do you want Jim Parsons to lose his job? I mean, he's really funny. You know, I have 3 words for you, scientists, today, so pay attention. Peer review journal. Please, get it right. I mean, I just can't, I can't hold this, I can't hold this together anymore. And now, here's the news. So you want to go to space, do you? Well, then make a video. Land Rover and Virgin Galactic are holding a contest that, well, you might just win.
There's a feeling that can't be stopped.
One that you get when you look at faraway places.
It pushes you to go somewhere new.
Well, that feeling is calling.
You, sitting there, watching this.
Do you ever wonder what's out there?
Well, here is the ultimate adventure.
You're going to be doing something that hardly any other people have ever done on Earth.
Just imagine being able to look back on planet Earth.
So what does the spirit of adventure mean to you? And who would you take with you?
Adventure's calling. Are you ready?
Of course, if you can't be bothered to make a video and you have $250,000 lying around, you can simply book a flight on Virgin Galactic website. They even provide a list of accredited space agents to help you with your travel needs. Fasten your seatbelts because this November, the crew for Expedition 42 is about to take up residency on the International Space Station, and no, the meaning of number 42 is not lost on this crew. They have adopted Douglas Adams' Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy with nerdy giddiness, replete with patches, posters, and slogans. Quote, "We don't know the question, but the answer is 42, Samantha Cristoforetti, one of the crew members from the European Space Agency, is reported to have said. Although more serious Earthlings might feel some concern about a crew of scientists heading to the International Space Station with the answer already in hand, Crew 42 has some advice for them as well. Quote, "Enjoy, don't panic, and always know where your towel is." No word yet on whether they've found a decent cup of tea. In Star Citizen news, Nikki D'Angelo comes to us live from the Bremen system, awaiting the delivery of the first Mustang. Nikki?
Thanks, Michael. And here I am, sitting in the starport in Bremen, and I'm awaiting the Mustang to be brought to us for its unveiling by none other than Silas Goerner. He should be leaving the factory in just a few moments. Now, just to go back with the Mustang, it's been in development for some time, And it's gone through a couple of different development cycles. In the beginning, it was plagued by engine problems where when the throttle was pushed too far forward, too fast, the engines were so powerful for the lightweight alloys that were used that they just break away from the ship altogether. They seem to have gotten that worked out, and finally we're going to be seeing... Wait, hold on one second. Michael, I'm getting something from the factory right now. Silas is on the other side of the planet, supposed to be leaving in just a few moments. Just give me 1 second. Oh, Michael, I'm so sorry. It seems like we've made the trip for nothing. The UEE stepped in, and they're asking for 2 more weeks of testing on the brand new engine mounts. So we are not going to be seeing the Mustang today.
Nikki, any idea why the UEE felt it necessary to step in now?
No, Michael, I have no idea why it's being stopped. There haven't been problems with the Mustang for at least 6 months. The last major problem was a crash due to somebody being intoxicated on fizzy juice, of all things. But as far as structural damage or structural failure goes, only the original prototypes were plagued by that. Ever since then, they've been able to find newer alloys in the asteroids around the Bremen system that are actually very light and very strong and able to handle the thrust that's being put onto the lightweight alloy frame that they have.
Well, I know there are a lot of anxious viewers waiting for their Mustangs. We look forward to hearing your ongoing reports.
Thanks, Michael. I will bring you the news as soon as I know. It seems like what they're saying is that the ship will be unveiled in 2 weeks' time back on Earth, of all places, at a Starship show that will be held in Santa Monica, California. Wow, it's been a long time since I've been back to Earth.
Thanks, Nikki. Nikki's show, Star Citizen Addicts Anonymous, is close to breaking $50 per episode, where the costs of making the show will be covered by those pledges. So head on over to her Patreon page and help her show break even by pledging as little as $1 per episode. Finally, a recent Freedom of Information Act request revealed the Mars rover has a microphone amongst its instrumentation package. This audio recording has never before been heard.
Hello. Marco. Beep, beep. Hello. Marco. Beep, beep. Hello. Marco. Hello. Beep, beep. Marco. Beep, beep. Hello. Marco. Hello. Beep, beep. Marco. Hello. Beep, beep.
What is this? Microphone?
And that's your aerospace news. At Galactic Inquiry, we're always looking for your creations, and here's what we found on the web this week. First up, Weekend was tired of waiting for CIG to tell him when Star Citizen would be released, so he fashioned his own countdown clock. After hours of toil and a trip to Galactic Mark, he created this clock, which shows the release dates. Soon, soon, soon. Next, AnythingFPS is at it again and has posted this gorgeous video of a constellation preparing for a big journey. Check out that video along with other machinima on the AnythingFPS YouTube channel. And remember the good old days? Quicksilver does. When he played Wing Commander at 15, he dreamt of having a real space cockpit. 24 years later, he lives on his own and can make it happen. Starting with a Saab 9-3 Viggen car seat, named after the Saab 37 Viggen aircraft, and a CH combat stick and pro throttle on their own custom bases, he can really go to town now. He says his dad helped all along the way, proving that you're never too old to have some fun. Oh, and the custom mugs were made at an online store in the Netherlands called Vistaprint. Our very own Galactic Inquiry community manager, Speedy, has been having some deep, hazy thoughts lately while floating in space. Check out his video series, Waiting for Rescue, a series of quick 14-second videos with bits of questionable wisdom thrown in. Speedy knows he wondered what a space pilot who lost their ship would do while they waited for the nearby search and rescue to show up. You'd probably have plenty of time to let your mind wander to some odd topics while you float in space. Finally, our organization this week is the Shadow Legion. Boasting 233 members, this organization is dedicated to taking, defending, and controlling their own sections of space in the game, and has the goal of sharing space with the Vandul. Oh, and bringing down the UEE. We received a brief introduction to their history in an email from their historian and current leader, Exar Kun, and his history implies the UEE destroyed Hades Planet 4, currently listed as a black hole, and wiped out the population. A young captain found hard evidence in 2927 and started the Shadow Legion to exact vengeance. Their recruitment video is decidedly creepy with children's music and horror-ish text. So even if you don't see or hear them, they're the shadow lurking behind you. Thanks to Weekend, AnythingFPS, Quicksilver, Speedy, and the Shadow Legion. You're on this week's Fan Frequency. Earlier this week, we sat down with Bad News Barrett and learned how he stumbled upon his current career as a full-time Star Citizen Twitch TV streamer. Hi, I'm here with Bad News Barrett, one of the luminaries on the Twitch TV channels, and a big guy who's always talking about Star Citizen these days. Hey, Barrett, how you doing, man?
I'm doing awesome. How are you doing, Mike?
I'm doing great. So let's take you right back. You have been playing games for a very long time, back to the days of SNES, and I've noticed in some of the things we've talked about that one of the threads that carries you through some of your favorite games is the concept of story. Tell me about some of those experiences.
This has been my entire life. Is story is pretty much the first things I did when I was a kid was start writing short stories and little tiny books and things like that. And so when I was drawn into gaming as a way to escape from the boringness of suburbia of middle class white America, I got drawn into things that I could really invest myself into, that I could sort of insert myself in as the character, follow a narrative, whether that's the old SNES games like. Actually, Link's Awakening was probably, was it NES? Something like that. Yeah. Whatever they were, but all these games, even the Pokemon games, I would have fun pretending I was a little adventuring character, anything like that. Well,
you mentioned the Link Adventures, which I thought, all of that was incredibly rich with story, and I think those are one of the kind of the more groundbreaking games that kind of brought us.
They installed a sense of drama, and it's interesting going from a game like Pac-Man to an era where you're suddenly discovering drama in games where there's narrative and there's something at risk, and you can get scared from these little pixels and things that normally weren't even possible like 5 years later. But the advances in storytelling have been growing as fast as the graphics have.
Absolutely.
Honestly.
Well, you're a writer, so you probably know what these games were doing to you from your perspective as a writer. Let's talk a little bit about how you discovered, without having the words for it as a kid, but as you grew up and learned about mythic structure. Looking back on that, how do you think they were, let's say, manipulating you?
When you're going back to all the mythic structure developed by Joseph Campbell, you get the different types of heroes. There's like 7 different kinds of heroes. There's only so many different stories that are ever told. They're only told in different ways, and you experience these games and you start noticing these patterns and you start finding the common threads. There's lots of, let's say, Japanese RPGs, Western RPGs, they follow the same sort of trends and storylines. And I became really interested in sussing those out and grabbing them and taking them as far as I could go. So if there was a trickster character in something like a Final Fantasy game, I wanted to know the history of that character's name. I wanted to know the clothes he was wearing, what all that could have to do with the character, and the history and everything behind there. So when I got into games like Marathon, where you have a character like Durandal, who is this, he's named after a mythic sword in the Song of Roland, a really obscure history reference in there. But he ends up being one of the most complex characters, I think, in all of video games, and has fascinating philosophy in all of his quotes and gibberish that he spews on the computer screen that normally in a first-person shooter game you could just scroll right past that. But I got drawn into these terminals.
Do you credit some of these early experiences with video games with your aspiration to become a writer?
Sure. I mean, any experience that affects you profoundly, I think, shapes you as a person. And I saw what these games were doing and these books were doing, some of my favorite authors, and I was thinking, man, I want to do that. I want to be able to, hold people's emotions in that way and really just rattle them, just totally shape an experience for somebody. And so my whole life I've been trying to get back to those experiences.
But here we go. Here we come into the 90s, and suddenly there's this new class of games where story is not quite so present anymore. Now we're online, not just playing with NPCs, but playing with other human beings who are not necessarily going to serve as your archetypes from the mythic journey, from the hero's journey. How did you transition from the kind of the structure of single-player games into multiplayer games?
Because there's still the drama there. You can still make yourself the character. You can still, so for Free Space 2, you can still imagine that you're the pilot inside of this ship. Even in these really loose cutscenes between every mission, you can go, okay, I'm really going to go do this. I'm really going to go fight these people online. This is the battleground. This is what we're going to do. And you can... You have to protect your compatriots, your squad mates. You have to make sure that you're on their six, protecting them the entire time. You've got to outsmart the enemy, and the losses are very real and visceral. The wins are exciting. And so there's still a story being told, even if it's not constructed for you.
So I've always found that a limited game, like something that plays for a limited time, like Free Space 2 or Battlefield 1942, always resulted in some really great stories to tell, because you essentially had your beginning, your middle, rising tension, and your resolution, your denouement. And I always found that was great stories came out of that, especially as you got back together around the office and shared what had just happened, and you're, oh my God, look what happened. So, but what happens when you move into some of the persistent universes? And I understand you played, amongst other things, Star Wars Galaxies. Where did you find the mythic structure in that?
Not in the game itself, at all. I'm sure it was there, but I was disinterested completely. Those were some of the first games where you found all of these large role-playing communities developing. Outside of the early MUDs, all the text-based role-playing taverns, they all moved into these games, and they developed incredibly intricate communities and storylines and live dramas. They were plays that were being enacted in real time, and so there was never any shortage of amazing characters and people you could meet, interact with in these games, and the storylines that would unfold were just incredible.
So in some ways, the concept of a sandbox threw the responsibility for mythic structure and storytelling back on the player, back on you.
Absolutely, and the players ran with it, and they used every single scrap of tool to just squeeze every bit of life out of the game. Even things that the developers never intended to be a story-based mechanic, they would find a way to twist and turn and incorporate it into, like a bug. A bug could become part of a story. They could find a way to make this evil plot, and it was just this bug.
Well, I've certainly seen the players make use of exploits over the years. I've been in the thick of that before. So how did you discover Star Citizen? Where did that come into your consciousness?
So that came in since Free Space 2. I have always had a bug for space sims. So ever since that game. That was my first, although I think I played TIE Fighter before that. I never got deeply involved.
TIE Fighter Wars was amazing,
Oh, yeah, really good game. But that game I got hooked on. I started trying to be a clan leader when I was like 11, and I had all these like 18-year-old guys in my clan, and some of them left when they figured out how old I was. But I've been looking for a good space sim, and I've been looking for story ever since then. And all these games sort of come and halfway deliver, or sort of get on the edge of what I think could be absolutely amazing, and then they back off, or they fail in some way, or they just drop off the face of the earth entirely. Then Star Citizen comes along, and I'm always on the lookout for the space sim, so I immediately took note. I didn't back it at first, unfortunately, and I wish that I had, but I've come back to it now that it's kind of picked up, and I've fallen in love.
As we've alluded to, there is this sense of metagaming outside of the actual game. People would create clans and communities through whatever medium, websites and such, to suspend that sense of storytelling and community beyond what the game itself did. And we're seeing that, of course, in, amazingly so for Star Citizen. You became a part of that in a big way. Now you're doing this Twitch stream. Tell me a little bit how you kind of grew into becoming Bad News Baron.
So my handle the last couple of years has been the Baron of Bad News, just on Steam and things like that. I never thought I'd be a Twitch streamer. So I made a YouTube video that was Brian, who is a sassy AI who talks back to you when you're using voice attack. And it went not viral, but it got really, really popular. And I thought, oh, people like this. I could do this live. And I'd seen Twitch because of the CIG streams. And so I went to Twitch, and there were a few streamers on there, and they were all just kind of playing the game and doing this. And so I thought, I could make this fun. I could make this entertaining. And so I got Brian out on there, and things took off in really unexpected ways.
So now you're doing voices. We actually featured your Vader voice on a show a while back. Now you do that live, right? You do that live?
I do my best James Earl Jones impersonation. I have to do the intonation, I have to deepen my voice and everything, which doesn't sound anything like James Earl Jones.
No.
But it sort of talks like Darth Vader when you do this, and a little bit of a Family Guy element to it as well. And then you add modulation on top of that. And you have to customize the controls to your voice, so it can never be the same for any two people. So people say, can you share your Darth Vader voice with us? And I say, it won't work for you. It's my voice.
Touching back on your experience, you actually ended up getting a degree in creative writing.
Yes.
How has that been a thread in your adult life? I understand you've been doing some short stories and other things, and how is that influencing what you're doing with your Twitch stream?
So this kind of goes back to being able to be creative in any way that I can. When I graduated college, I thought I'd be a starving artist until I hit it big with a book, and I got bored of that real quick and the lousy tips and things.
Right.
So I went into the corporate world, professional world, doing marketing and everything.
Copywriting, or what were you doing in the marketing space?
So I was working for an ad agency, and I was designing online campaigns, advertising campaigns, print campaigns, all sorts of things. I was doing the Mad Men kind of high conceptual kind of thing. Right. And then I got sick of it because I felt it was evil. All the stuff we were able to do online in terms of privacy invasion and targeting and all that stuff that you hate on Facebook was stuff that I was doing.
You were the evil one.
Yeah, it was bad. So I felt that I had sold my soul to the devil. It was long hours. It was a startup agency as well, so it was the sleep under your desk kind of thing. I quit. I took a chance and quit. I found a job that I thought was my dream job at the time as a copywriter, which was great because I got to tell more stories, stories about products, travel, all sorts of things. I got to travel across the world. It was great. I got to go to Mexico. I had the opportunity to go to Rwanda. I didn't go. But that I was sort of forcefully ejected from the corporate world a little while ago.
Well, that's happened to me about 10 times, so I'm familiar with that process.
Yeah, it's never fun. But when I lost my job, I decided I was going to take a chance, and I was going to do streaming full time. And the community has been incredible.
Wow!
They have completely rallied behind me. They have made this possible. It's not going to be easy. I was thinking that maybe 2 years from now I could be doing this, but I'm doing it now, and I'm able to have a level, steady base, and that's all I need to get going.
Well, I think the community is incredible about recognizing talent, recognizing people who are giving something back, and they want to support that. And certainly you fit in that space, absolutely.
Well,
so, apparently you have a penchant for also, maybe a little acting?
Yes. So I was a film kid in college.
Right.
And I was always the writer lackey from the English department, hanging out with all the cool kids in the film crews, like with the lights and the cameras and everything. I didn't know how to do any of that technical stuff.
Right.
But I like to put on a show and act and be creative. And so they would use me as an actor or voice actor or anything. So I try to incorporate all my passion for that stuff into the stream to get my dosage of voice acting.
I know nothing about that. I've never done that. So you've been building some characters. Apparently, now I got a win that you are considering putting up a little competition with Mr. Fitzsmithy, as I understand.
Oh, it's going to be a throwdown.
Oh.
It's not going to be a competition. It's going to be a massacre.
Okay.
I'm going to take Fitzsmithy, I'm going to throw him on the ground, and I'm going to stomp my feet on him lyrically.
So, all right. So I hear you've got a poem that you're going to use as your throwdown. You're throwing down your gauntlet. Jabberwock. Oh, that's a fun one. So, hey, why don't we watch that right now?
It would change no death. Oh, hello there. Oh, how rude of me. Yes, hello. Hello, my friend. I am Bad News Baron of Twitch TV. Welcome. Welcome aboard my starship and get into the bubble bath with me. I was just reading some poetry and I would invite you to read with me. Yes, today I have a very special poem for you. Yes, I think you should like this poem. Yes, it is called Jabberwock. Yes, it's by Lewis Carroll, an old Earth poet. Yeah. Here in the Phoenix, we have no such thing as regular poets, so we just get the insane ones. But I shall read this to you now. Jabberwocky by Lewis Carroll. 'Twas brillig, and the slithely troves did gyre and gimble in the wave. All mimsy were the borogoves, and the mumrace outgrabe. Beware the Jabberwock, my son, the jaws that bite, the claws that snatch. Beware the jujubird, and shun the famulous bundersnatch. He took his vorpal sword in hand, long time the manxome foe he sought. So rested he by the tum-tum tree, and stood a while in thought. And as in uffish thought he stood, the Jabberwock, with eyes of flame, yes, came whiffling through the tulgey wood, and burbled as it came. 1, 2, 1, 2, and through. The vorpal blade went snicker-snack. He left it dead, and with its head he went galumphing back. And hast thou slain the Jabberwock? Come to my arms, my beamish boy. Oh, Frab just stay. Karoo! Calais! Yes, he chortled in his joy. Yes, he did. Yeah. And 'twas billig, and the slithy troves did gyre and gimble in the wabe. All mimsy were the borogoves, and the mumrace outgrabe. I don't understand a word of it. It's absolutely gibberish, absolute gibberish. But thank you for joining me for this wonderful poem, and I do hope you'll join me again soon. Brian, get the airlock.
So, yeah, you were chewing the scenery on that one, weren't you?
I was chewing my pipe, that's for sure.
Yeah, that was a great bit. Great dialect, too. Nicely done.
Learn from the best.
Well, we all learn from somebody before us, don't we? So, hey, it's been great to have you on the show. Really looking forward to kind of getting you tied into what we're doing here. Looking forward to come on your show and, jumping on the chat and saying hello while you're streaming. How long every day? Where are you streaming? Tell everybody.
Well, Texas time, Dallas, Texas time, we are streaming from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. every single day, and we're having an absolute blast, Monday through Friday.
And what's your channel? Where's your channel?
That is twitch.tv/badnewsbaron. Come say hello and follow and be a pink fluffy unicorn.
Awesome. So, hey, Bad News Baron, how do you like to be called? Thanks for coming on. It's great to see you.
Thank you, Mike.
Look for more from Bad News Baron as he and Galactic Inquiry team together to dominate the verse. You know, total universal domination is hard work, so become a Patreon backer today and help the Galactic Inquiry become your best resource for news, views, and brews. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and you'll get a ping each time we publish a new video. And keep in touch through your favorite social portal. Links to Galactic Inquiry sites may be found on our brand new website. This show belongs to you, the Star Citizen community, so be sure to give us your feedback on the thread below. And of course, the centerpiece of this show is fan creation. If you have something cool to share, send it to us, and if it doesn't suck, we'll show it. And remember, we're listening.